I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm so sorry I am late, guys. Wanted to show Witchy something, but don't think holding up in front of camera works. No, Mel, it doesn't, I'm afraid. But you can take a photo and email it to me at thewitchygoth@gmail.com. I'm starting to get that stuck in my head now. Sorry, guys, just putting my phone onto silent. I have had such a busy day. It has been manic. So I apologize to everybody for my tardiness today. That's already on silent. I'm absolutely starving. Haven't had a chance to eat since lunchtime, but I shall survive. Don't work. Right. Okay. Hello. I'm so sorry. Just as I was coming downstairs and about to start, the cats all appeared. Like, we want our tea. I'm like, oh. So I had to give them their dinner, all but one, because she's weird. She hardly ever eats. She does nothing. She's dead skinny and she does nothing. She's fine. She's healthy. She's just one of them cats. Then when I feed Thorn, I have to give him his injection of insulin because that is the, that was the advice that I was given by the vet. So yeah. Let me go through the chat and see who is with us. Just a little bit of housework before I begin. If you are watching and you would like to join the chat, you can do so by subscribing and wait a minute or two, and then you'll be able to chat. If you are watching, please give us a like. I can see fewer likes than there are people watching, so it would be really, really appreciated if you could give us a like. Share on your platforms, whatever social media you use, and yeah, be polite. We've got a wonderful group in chat, absolutely wonderful people, and I do have some fabulous mods, and as well as my producer Chris C84. So anybody who does troll will find, and I see that One Angry Pagan is there as well, so he has the Thor of Hammer. The Hammer of Thor, Mjolnir. So yes, he will drop that hammer on people. So also, if you have a look up at the top, there is a pinned comment from me if you would like to support the channel. Easiest way you can support the channel is to subscribe and like the video. What is going on here? Sorry, stuff's touching the keyboard on my other computer and it's going wonky. Story of my life. Also, sharing the videos really, really helps. Subscribing, obviously, and if you would like to, you can donate to or support me through Buy Me a Coffee, which is greatly appreciated. Some of you may have seen my video yesterday. Things are a little bit tight right now, so I am setting up a GoFundMe. It's there. I just have not had time to update it today. To raise funds for my Kit Kats so that I can feed them, get their jabs, get their flea and worm treatments, and get litter for them as well. So I will hopefully be able to update that by tomorrow. If you would rather send litter directly or food directly to me, because I know a lot of people feel really weird about, dropping to GoFundMe because so many people rip people off, email me and I will send you my address, and I'll also highlight the stuff that the cats eat because they're very fickle. It's not expensive. I say it's not expensive. I generally buy it off of Amazon, which works out cheaper than buying it from the shop. And then I can give you my address if you want to get that delivered to me. I am not begging here. I am just doing a little bit of fundraising for myself at the minute. All of those will help massively towards funding the cats and feeding the cats at the moment. I'm okay. I have loads of tins of baked beans, loads of pasta, loads of tinned tomatoes. I'll be fine. So it's the cats that worry me more than anything else. So sorry about all of that waffle. Let's see who's in the chat. Okay, Billy said he's cat catching. So if you're watching, Billy, love to you. Get those cats. Chris C, thank you for joining. Hi, dears, lovely to see you. Blessed be one angry pagan. I am so glad glad that you have joined this evening, because I'm actually going to be playing one of your videos. So if one of my mods, or even yourself, Pagan, could pop a link to your channel, that would be fabulous. One angry pagan is a very angry pagan, but we love him to bits. And if you can follow his channel, please do. He is very, very into his ecology and knows loads about it. And it would really help him if you could support him. Check out his channel. He also does Eco Watch. I think it's called Eco Watch. I think it used to be called Eco Snowflake. I'm not sure, but with Reagan Elite. If you can pop Reagan Elite's channel into the chat as well, that would be awesome. And they do a chat. I'm not sure which Thursday of the month it is. It's a Thursday evening. I think you did one last week that I watched. So fantastic. Thanks for joining, Pagan. Really lovely to see you. Hi, Mel. Lovely to see you. Hope you're feeling okay. Elle, my wonderful Elle, thank you for joining. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Me saying, on my way. Oh, I've done it again. I hate it when he does this. It just jumps around. What's a white hole? What's a white hole? Apologies. Apologies for not getting that. I'm sure that there's something witchy behind it. What is this symbol that you guys are using, Diz and Mel? If you can just pop into chat. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Just pop into chat what it actually means. That would be great. Okay, yes, I've just fed the cats. Hi, Draca, lovely to see you. And I'm sure Alexis is there as well. Pagan question, which is more important, a ritual or a moot? It depends. It completely depends. For me, I would say ritual, although I alternate it with the term observance, because not all of us have the time to have a ritual or attend a ritual. So observing that day is also a wonderful thing to do. So you could observe that day, and obviously we've got Ostara coming up this weekend, which I will be talking about a little bit later. So you may want to observe the day by taking a walk in nature, looking at the flowers, recognizing that it is spring, that, you know, equal day, equal night, which brings us to that balance point within witchcraft, paganism, where we find, you know, we've tipped away from the dark of winter and we're moving into that balance, and we will be moving into the light of summer very soon. So lighting candles, burning incense, planting seeds is an excellent thing to do for Ostara. Ostara is the name of a, and I meant to get the goddess cards and I completely forgot, completely ran out of time, is the name of a Germanic goddess, Aostra, Saxon Wicca. If you want to use Wicca, I'm going to be discussing a lot of these different terms in a little while. Sayax Wicca or witchcraft, it's a Germanic belief, also known as heathens. I'll make sense of all of this a little bit later. Sorry, my head is itching. I think something's probably just bitten me, or it's my fleas. The cats have given me fleas. So a moot is generally a meeting. So it's a gathering of pagans. It could be a daytime meeting, an evening meeting. Often it's held in a pub. Many pagans like to have a bevy or two. Some of us don't drink. It could be held as a picnic. So that's, I would say, a moot is, you know, good for getting together, getting to know each other, swapping thoughts and ideas about paganism and what it means. To me, a ritual is the most important. To me, it is putting on my ritual robes, writing the actual ritual that I'm going to perform. A lot of it's up here now. I've been practicing for that many years. It just flows naturally. So it does involve lighting candles, but it also involves, sorry, there's a fur. It could be a human fur, but I think it's a cat fur. Sorry, guys. It also involves calling on the quarters, the elements, the spirits, whatever you want to call them. So that's earth, air, fire, and water, north, east, south, and west, to protect the circle. You may want to do some ritual cleansing around the circle, cleansing yourself. Perhaps you've got an altar that you've got some offerings on. I generally try to use fruits, breads, seasonal foods, and depending on the time of year, you know, I would use mead if I have mead available, but generally I use apple juice or water which you can bless and infuse with the energy of the goddess and the god. Casting your circle, invoking the goddess and the god, perhaps invoking the spirit or the one, and I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to do that in a minute. And then doing your magical workings. That sacred circle that you put around yourself protects you for your workings. And then you can do some meditation within that ritual, perhaps singing, dancing, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. And taking it from there, you do an offering to the goddess and god, what we call cakes and ale. It can be called cakes and ale, like apples and apple juice. Basically, you are giving thanks for the earth by the food, which is the symbol of the god, and you are giving thanks for the liquid, which is the symbol of the goddess. You would bless those either with your athame or with your wand. Always remember, these two fingers, if you don't have a wand, are a wand already. And then you close the circle. We call it closing the circle, although it's really opening the circle because you're taking it down. You are deconstructing that circle. I will be going into a ritual and explaining that in the future. If I get a chance this weekend, I shall record my ritual and hopefully you will be able to hear it because I will be outside. So hopefully I can get the microphone that blah blah sent me up and running so I can do it with the pinned on one, and it's a Bluetoothy one. It's modern fangled technology. I hope that's helped you and not confused you too much, Draco. Don't feed the cats propaganda. Absolutely. Pagans put a response here as well. Depends on the ritual, depends on the mood, depends on the type of heathen you speak of. Yeah. As I said, it's completely up to you. Also, we have the full moon ritual as well, where we draw down the moon, completely different thing. You can also have your workings at waxing moon, waning moon, and dark moon and new moon. Loads of different stuff there. I am busy working on my Witchcraft book, which it's a manual. I wrote it years ago. I'm just busy updating it at the moment. I'm going to be teaching it. So it'll be I'm not sure how many weeks it'll be a course of, and it will be, you know, I will have to work out the fee and so on. It'll probably be done through Zoom. So I will keep you updated on that and let you know when that's going to take place. And it explains all of those things. It gives you samples for rituals that you can do, samples of gods and goddesses, different types of magic that you may want to use, spells, meditations, as well as different types of paganism, which we're going to talk about today. And I've waffled and waffled and waffled, and it's already 6:20. So, Mel, if you do want to show me something, as long as it's not rude, yeah, take a photo and email it to me. Hi, Chris C. Thank you for joining. For me, a moot is called a thing, a ping. Yeah, it's basically a gathering of people coming together to talk paganism and witchcraft and, you know, get to know each other, get to know the group in the area. And then, of course, you've got a coven, which is a group of pagans who come together to work in circle together. A lot of people practice solitary, or you can practice in a coven. I will do Mithril in a moment. Just bear with me a second. Hang on, I'm just going back up the chat because it's done its stupid thingy, uppy, downy thing that it does. Sorry, guys, I don't want to miss anybody in the chat. White holes are the theoretical opposite of black holes. Okay. There is some suggestion that a black hole can be connected to a white hole. Interesting. Very interesting. That is something that we can talk about on Stuff and Nonsense on Sunday. Witchcraft. Yep. Maybe a craft beer. Your microwave is mad at you. I'm sorry about that. Mithril, lovely to see you. Sorry, Pagan's told a tale here and I've missed it. Okay, here we go. A good story of Aostra or Ostara tells of finding a wounded bird in the snow. To save it, she transforms it into a hare because it was formerly a bird. It kept the ability to lay eggs, which it decorates and gives to Easter. And obviously, when we think of Easter, which is where Christianity stole pagan rituals from, Easter being one of them, as we've said, Easter is Aostra or Ostara, as it is also known. Spring Equinox, for those who want to use it in that term. And the Druids actually have lots of different names. I've got my Druid stuff out here, although I'm not Druid. But I know in here somewhere are the names of the Druid ritual days, Sabbats, slightly different to what we call them. And I think as well, Pagan, in your, because you follow the Germanic system, don't you? So in your system, they will also be named different things as well. So Christianity stole paganism rituals for its own use to get the pagans into church, to convert us over to Christianity. Again, a story for another day. But Easter, the Christian Easter falls, I think it's after the 40 days of Lent, so it's next month sometime, whereas Ostara falls on the 21st or 22nd. It's all to do with the time and the angle of the sun of March, spring equinox. So if you want to celebrate, most of us celebrate it on the 21st, but 3 days. 3 days of a celebration is a good thing. So you can start on Friday and then Saturday and then Sunday and, work it in whatever way feels right for you. That is a lovely tale, Pagan. I love that. And of course, eggs are, when we see an egg, it's a solid thing and it looks dead, doesn't it? But life comes from that egg. And, eggs and hares aren't really anything to do with Christianity, are they? I mean, why would you use just, a cross or a crucifix to represent Christianity when Christ was unalived on it? I don't think I would want to come back to earth to be faced with people wearing a crucifix. Sort of a reminder of, what happened to me. White holes are the theory, blah, 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 right? I've said that already. Witchcraft, and that I'm guessing would be to do with your heathen faith, although Wicca itself is completely different to witchcraft. I'm going to go through all of this in a minute. And wick stems from the root word wit, which is knowledge or to know, as in the wit of a person. And we've come to know it as being witty, but it's knowledge. It's all to do with knowledge. And witchcraft is the wise craft, if you will. It's the craft of the wise. So Larry, hello, my darling. Lovely to see you. Possibly referring to the boring old badger routine that got state a long time ago. This badger symbol, yawn, yawn. Yes, also at the top of the chat, there is a poll if you want to complete it, to do with the new symbols that the Bank of England has suggested, being British animals. So I've put up badgers, and I didn't put hedgehogs, did I? I don't think. What did I put up here? Hang on a second. Badgers, foxes, robins, and squirrels, and I didn't put hedgehogs. Naughty me, but they only give you 4 choices, and I should have probably put hedgehogs instead of squirrels. Anyway, so at the moment, badgers are leading at 73%, as I thought they would be because you're all badgers. Foxes 18%, robins 0. Oh, little red robin, and squirrels 9%. Oh, the poor robin. Let's have a look, going through the chats. I need to cut a load of stuff before I start planting. Some idiot put a long ornamental grass in my back garden, and since I've been ill, it's grown everywhere. Oh, bloody hell. I've got brambles. I've got a saw for the brambles. They are like trees. They've come over the wall again. So, yeah, that's my weekend job. Witchy, forget ye not the power of communal magic at a thing moot. Absolutely, absolutely. And when we have a ritual or a sabbat in that magical circle, what I like to do is to, even when I'm on my own, is we work in a circular way. We always work sunwise, which is deersill. So you're basically working the same way as a clock. I know it looks different to you because of the camera. But anyway, so you always work sunwise, clockwise, and that energy flows around. You create that energy and spin it faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, and it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. It raises up, and then generally the High Priestess will send that energy up to wherever that energy is needed. Be wary of Woden, Odin. Absolutely, Pagan, absolutely. Chris, I may have to go that route, but child and dog not too keen on Roundup. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. Crud, I forgot a wand. Was at a special shop. You know what? The best ones you can ever use are ones that are from a tree around you. You may find a branch, something on the ground. My first wand ever was a bougainvillea. It was a bougainvillea. I had it growing outside of my house when I lived in South Africa. And I've actually got a beautiful yew tree one now that I love. It's absolutely so powerful. But they're all over there, and I'm not going to get up and show you, but I'll show you at some other stage. So Elle's got a buzzy wand. Speaking of which, lots of buzzy bees around today. Roundup is safe once it has dried. Best time to apply it is early morning once the dew has evaporated, or late evening. Yes, it is safe as long as it's dried. Mithril, could I send some healing your direction? Absolutely, my darling. So the words that I'm going to speak now are words of Scott Cunningham, who was a Wiccan. And these words I learned many, many years ago. It is the, what is it called? It is a sort of all-encompassing invocation. May the powers of the One, the source of all creation, all-pervasive, omnipotent, eternal, may the goddess, the lady of the moon, and the god haunter of the sun, may the powers of the spirits of the stones, rulers of the elemental realms, may the powers of the stars above and earth below, bless this place and this time, and we who are with you. Goddess Brigide, I ask that you send energy to Mithril and to Indy and to everybody in chat who needs a bit of healing. We could all do with a bit of healing, I think. Blessed be. Let's have a look. As a Germanic Anglo-Saxon heathen, I depend on the context, do invoke blood magic, but not often, and with my own blood only. Yeah, I also do use blood magic, but also my own blood. If you are a woman and you are in your fertile time, using menstrual blood is even stronger for magic. So I would highly recommend that. Doc Davis, hello. Thank you for joining. There's a new cat in your garden. Wonderful. To know your email, Indy, it is on the description of my channel. It is thewitchygoth@gmail.com. It's done the jumpy up thing again. Robins are vicious bastards. They are, but they're also very cute and they're very cheeky as well. Ducks also, butterflies also. Yeah, I agree. There's so many different animals and creatures we could put onto the banknotes, aren't there? But of course, the far right are in uproar, absolute uproar, because they're taking Winston Churchill off of the money. It was on a £20 note. Yeah, who cares? Christianity stole an awful lot of things from other religions. It certainly did, and it stole a lot of people. And when you look at Catholicism and all of the money that sits in the Vatican, I've been to the Vatican, I have seen the Sistine Chapel and all of the artwork there, and it's a beautiful place to visit. It really is. But, you know, if that money could be spread out into the world, imagine that we could feed everybody, we could clothe everybody, we could home everybody, end the bloody wars. Sorry, guys, I am just a turnip stone. Mel, I hope she sort of figured you out as a black tourmaline. Yeah, always go with the crystals that jump into your hand. Always. You need them for a reason. You've sent me a photo. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you, Chris C. Doing some research on white holes for Friday. For Sunday, sorry, for Sunday, because Friday I'm going to have a rant. I'm going to have a ranty session on Friday, so it'll be for Sunday, Chris C, if that's okay. But yeah, if you do some research, that'll be wonderful. Hang on, I am going down here. Good Friday falls on April the 3rd this year, Easter Sunday on the 5th, and Easter Monday on the 6th. Thank you. I knew it was then because my hairdresser contacted me and I have to change my hair appointment, which was going to be on the 3rd. But thank you for reminding me. It's one on my to-do list. Bill Hicks used to say it's like walking up to Jackie O with a bullet pendant and saying, thinking of John, Jackie, thinking of John. Yeah, absolutely. I like that. Well, Bill Hicks, rest in peace. Absolutely. Brilliant comedian. Suggested animals for the banknote designs are driving the gammons nuts, so I'm up for the changes. I know. They're absolutely going bonkers. And, you know, these are nationalists and want to have British culture and animals, British animals like badgers and hedgehogs and robins and squirrels and ducks, and they are British culture. They are British culture. 2 male robins will fight to the unaliving if one invades the other's territory. Absolutely. One of my cats used to like robins. He was very good at robins and blackbirds, which used to make me really, really sad. Bill Hicks, when Jesus comes back, does he really want see an effing cross that would be like wearing a sniper's cross at a Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis party? Yeah, exactly. Always ask and thank the tree too. Absolutely, Mithril. We always give thanks. Afterwards, I basically, when I go to a tree to pick something, whether it is something that I'm going to be using in a ritual, I try to get things that have fallen on the ground if I'm going to be burning. But obviously, if I need to use something and pick it, it could be flowers, it could be herbs, it could be something from a tree. I will hold it and I will say, do you mind, you know, coming home with me so that I can use you in this ritual? After I've picked it, I say thank you and bless that plant, tree, etc. Woden has many names. Okay, Grimnir, Odin, Wotan, Aldfrad, El the Father, Alfred, All-Father, Alfrader, All-Father, Baldur's Fadra, Baldur's Father, Balia, yeah, that one, Brun, Brown One, Borsnar, Bor's Son, thank you. And of course, Woden, Wotan being a slightly different spelling, I believe. Oh, you're welcome, Mithril. You are more than welcome, more than welcome. Oh, it's done the jumpy uppy thing again. Churchill's on the £5 note. Yeah, worth less than that, but anyway. Oh, thank you for all those runes. Wonderful. I'm sure that does say Blessed Ostara. Dragonflies as well, Chris C. Absolutely. Although dragonflies are known all over the world. That's, you know, another thing. Right. The humble bumblebee is a must. Absolutely. I saw some bumblebees when I was out today and some butterflies. And I was sat in the garden for my lunch doing some catching up paperwork, and bumblebees were flying past me. I was trying to get photos of them, but they weren't sitting still long enough in the flowers. An osprey on the notes. Absolutely. A buzzard. An owl. Woden was demoted to the status of Midgard-bound human king by the Christians. Yeah. Got the tourmaline, obsidian, quartz, and lava. Wonderful. Jane Austen features on the 10, Turner on the £20 note, and Turing on the 50. Yeah. I must admit, I do like Turner's artwork. I really do. But I can guarantee you now, if you had to ask one of these gam-gams, these fash, a book written by Jane Austen or a painting that Turner painted, or even who Turing is, they probably wouldn't know. It's okay, indeed. Don't worry about spelling. Who cares? I mean, One Angry Pagan has this spelling that none of us can understand. Sorry, Pagan. I mean that as a joke. I mean that as a joke. I've always felt a bond with hematite. I don't even know what it represents. It is blood. Hematite contains a huge amount. Well, no, hematite is iron ore. It's a form of iron. It's very heavy, very heavy. I've got quite a beautiful hematite necklace. It looks like black pearls, but it's hematite, and bracelet that I sometimes wear. Very grounding, very good if you've got blood problems such as diabetes or low blood pressure or high blood pressure even. It'll help to balance you out. This duck's Scottish. Of course you are. Oh, it's done it again. Froggage thinks British culture is shooting things. Well, I know one thing he can shoot. I don't know anything about stones, really. I just kept going, ooh, pretty, ooh. Yeah, Dalmatian stone. Yeah, Dalmatian jasper. That's a good jasper to use. Ooh, pink, ooh, purple. Yeah, I know. I know. My collection of crystals is huge. And this is a piece of rose quartz. I don't know if you can see it there, guys. The lamps are a bit weird, but it is a very high quality piece of rose quartz, which I got when I lived in South Africa, and I will never get rid of them. You remember that episode of Friends where Ross is moving and he's got that massive box, and I think it's Joey that goes to pick it up, or it could be Chandler, and they go to pick it up and say, what have you got in here, rocks? And he's like, well, yeah, all of my artifacts and stuff. So yeah, dragonflies go back to about 300 million years ago. Fantastic evolutionary story. A wolf, absolutely. My magical name is Wolf. Just Wolf. No colour, nothing else, just Wolf. And my spirit animal is Wolfie, and he sits here. He's a baby wolf. There are fish which could feature too, grayling or barbel for starters, salmon. Dragonflies. I've looked back through all the old banknotes, and Churchill is the only politician to be ever featured. Yeah. I once went to a zoo rescue. You could go inside the pen, strict orders, no eye contact, no touching the wolves, except nobody told the wolves. Sat down and a wolf laid next to me. Oh, how blessed. How blessed. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. The wolf went to sleep. Oh my God. That is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wolves need to be reintroduced. I agree 100%. To call my control, not to pet it. Derpitz? I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. I can't quite see. Animals aren't culture. Churchill should never have been on the note. Politicians shouldn't be on there ever. Agree with you. I think that the animals may not be culture, but they do represent a certain part of British culture, being that when we think of the countryside, we think of those animals, and, you know, we do need to preserve the animals. It's not up to us anyway, it's up to the Bank of England, but personally, I think, oh, thank you. Thank you. Link's first pagan, though, I think. Roxanne. Always think of blooming, what's his name? Eddie Murphy. Brilliant film, Beverly Hills Cop, when he's in the jail. The Police. Yes, I do love The Police. I actually have my first album was Regatta de Blanc by The Police. Yeah. It was the same year as Adamant, wasn't it, I think? I went by name Wea once. It means wolf in Cherokee, part of my ancestry. Wonderful. I have a friend who has a lot of Native American ancestry, and the minister that ordained me is an Inuit, a Native American Inuit. Maybe we should have the national animal of Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England on the banknotes. I think that that's a wonderful idea. Except the national animal of England, isn't it a lion? I think we should have unicorns. Let's have unicorns. Barn owl is your own spirit guide. That's wonderful. We can all have our own pigeons. Pigeons are another one that are all over the world. The sequel sans. Right. So, I've been told. That's my Scottish interpretation of being told off. I've been told. Some of you know that I released a video, I think it was last week sometime, about the Restore Party, and a video that I'd seen. And I had somebody, well, a few people actually, tell me that I don't know what paganism is. I have no clue, apparently. That's my certificate of license, and I was ordained in 2006, 2005. I was ordained as a minister in 2005. Under the Stars Over Africa ministry. I was living in South Africa at the time, but the ministry itself was run by Mike, who was, as I said, Native American Inuit, and Annette, who was South African. So that's where that came from. Now, he follows the Essene tradition, which is a Christ philosophy. However, he ordained myself and Volva Freya, who was a wonderful witch. She still is a wonderful witch, who I miss every single day. She followed the Nordic pantheon. And she was absolutely just amazing. One of my biggest and best teachers. Anyway, so we were ordained at the same time by him and Annette into that church, because he saw us as being worthy of that that title. And I have performed many ceremonies, hand fastings, naming ceremonies, and some crossing over ceremonies, which are the saddest and the hardest to do. I have been a witch since I was about 23, 24. So I've been a witch now for a long time, about 27 years, about 27 years. and been reading tarot cards since I was 8 years old. Yeah, so I obviously have no idea what paganism is at all. So I'm going to talk about some of these comments and talk a little bit about what paganism actually is. We could have animals on the borders of the notes, but should be bordering. I personally think we should be placing people like Turing, Whittle, Austen, etc. on the notes as the figureheads. Agree? Absolutely. I think Emily Bronte should be on there. She's my favorite author, and absolutely love Wuthering Heights. It's my favorite book. So yeah. National animal for England is the lion, Scotland is the unicorn, Northern Ireland doesn't have a national animal, and Wales, of course, is the dragon. I think we should have dragons and unicorns, most definitely. I often think and sometimes curse my genetics. I have Scots, Irish, and Native American, all been through massacres and hardship for 500 years, as have women for thousands of years, Mel. For thousands of years. But it's good that you're here. I'm ordained. Yes, I am. I was so glad to see Mary Anning on banknotes a few years ago. She is one of me heroes, along with Steve Irwin. Attenborough, absolutely, Attenborough. He did introduce many people to nature, and he's known all over the world. He is an icon, and the day that he passes is going to be, I think, a day of mourning for the whole country. Oh, I love that idea. Yeah, maybe the new design should feature all women. Really upset the incels and the gammons. Absolutely. And disabled. You may be disabled, but you're not. In our world, you are perfectly imperfect. Yes, the Bronte sisters. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All of them. All of them. And maybe including Bran as well. Mary Anning was very important to the field of paleontology. I think Richard Owen should be on there too. Anyone here ever read an author called John Moore? Sounds familiar. What did he write, Mithril? Right. If you have a specific question at the Witchy Goth Me, and it shows up, it highlights it on my feed so I can see the questions coming up. So the first person to comment that I found, I've just been going through, I screenshotted a few of them, so bear with me as I go through this. Abe Histain says, hi, I'm a Restore member and pagan. I suspect you call yourself a pagan without understanding anything about actual paganism by how you talk. I highly recommend Tom Roswell's pagan channel at Survive the Jive if you want to learn about true paganism and what it means to be British. Have a blessed evening, and may the gods open your eyes to see clearly and your ears to listen to others. Okay. Survive the Jive. Where did I put him? Right. Have a listen. Because he's wrong. So I'm just taking this back a little bit. I have timestamped stuff, but all of the links to all of these videos and the articles that I'm going to read from are in the description of this channel. No, go away. I'm not restarting you yet. It wants to update my computer. So here we go. This is Survive the Jive. He has a channel where he talks about neo-paganism of the Germanic, Anglo-Germanic paganism, which I have no problem with. However, he is right-wing and definitely a white supremacist. So I'm going to talk about some of these things as well. So I'm just going to play this first of all.
The Anglo-Saxon migration shouldn't represent in the popular imagination the date when the English and the Germans separated and became two different peoples, because actually there were sustained and significant contacts for hundreds of years after the migration.
For hundreds of years after the migration.
One of the ways we can track that is through archaeology with the Salin style. It's called, there's a Swedish name for it, which is that, the twisty knotwork, which some people erroneously refer to as Celtic knotwork. It was introduced to Britain by the Saxons, so it's not Celtic.
Lies, it wasn't. Celtic knotwork stems from the 2nd to 3rd century Common Era. And he's going to go on and say that it stems from the Nordic side of the pantheons. It doesn't. It does go back a very, very long way, and you can see it on various stones in various parts of Britain that go back to Celtic times. This guy's a professor. Just saying.
At all. But that style did not exist at the time of the Anglo-Saxon migrations. It was, at the time, the main style of Germanic art is called Nudum style, after the Nudum box. And that style, the previous style of Nudum, had been very influential across the Germanic world, even up to Scandinavia, and probably has its origins in this part of the world, showing that this region was important for the entire Germanic world.
In this video, he's actually in Germany, and I must admit, the place where he is looks incredibly, incredibly fascist. Just go and watch these videos. I'm actually going to be speaking about Ronald Hutton Mithril. I adore Ronald. I adore him. And he won't say if he's pagan or not. He never has admitted to being pagan. He keeps it to himself. So, but I went to one of his talks at Nottingham, University of Nottingham, a good few years ago now, and I absolutely love his work. I have linked one of his videos into the description box as well. I'm going to play a bit of it, but yeah, it's so much that Ronald Hutton has done, so many different documentaries that he has done. I highly, highly, highly recommend his work.
In a way that maybe isn't fully appreciated by people, because, I'm not saying it was a center, but it was certainly more influential than people realize. And anyway, the first Salin style of these twisty animals and knots comes around in the 5th and 6th centuries.
Now it does, because that has been developed over time, and it actually goes into Book of Kells, Kells, which was written round about the 5th century. If I remember correctly, I've got notes all over the place today with this stuff. And so then it was actually written. Don't forget, the Celts didn't have a language, a written language. They used the Celtic Ogham, which is based on trees, and it's basically straight lines like that. So the birch is a straight line with one line across. That is the beginning of the alphabet for Ogham. And then they have lines across that way, 5, up to 5, up to 5, and then across that way, up to 5, across that way, up to 5, across that way, up to 5. And then there are a couple of extra ones as well, which I'll talk about at a different time. He is right to a point, but he misses out the cross-pollination of Celtic and Germanic cultures at various points. He is indeed wrong about the actual origin, though. Which when I was watching, I'm like, that's fucking wrong. I fucking know that's wrong. All of these books here are pagan books. And I was actually looking for my Gerald Gardner book earlier, and I must have lent it to somebody because it's not there. But I've got a mountain of books here, which I'm going to show you guys and quote from in this live stream. So, yeah. And I know Mel asked a good book to start with, and I will get to that. Oh, yes. Is Tan on later on this evening? Oh, I hope so. Be good to see her. Not seen her for ages. Hi, who's popping? Lovely to see you there. Sorry if I've missed anybody else joining. Just realised Pagan-splaining was aimed at the right-wing pagan bloke and not you. That's okay. That's okay. Don't worry who's popping. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. Who is this idiot? Moron, uneducated brat that is talking. His name is Tom Powell. Yeah. Tom Roswell, sorry. Yeah, he's a dickhead. he's so right wing that it is, yeah, I have no words. Survive the Jive commented on one of my own vids, I think. Yeah, he may well have done, Pagan. He's a twat. He's a twat. It's that simple. He thinks he knows everything. And this guy that commented on him and said, I need to watch him. And as soon as I started watching, I thought, for God's sakes, I don't even want to listen to him, because let me play this. Let me go on a little bit. I'll tell you in a minute, Mithril. He was at a uni. I think I'll double check his I nearly said scrotus then. I don't know why. Perhaps I was thinking that he's a ball sack. I don't know.
And then develops into Stalin style 2 in the 6th and early 7th centuries, which is what is the type on the famous Sutton Hoo helmet, which is actually being used as a political symbol by Restore Britain at the moment, the right-wing party that we're all putting our hopes in Britain.
Now, I've tried to find this symbol that the right-wing party Restore are using, and I couldn't find it. So if anybody has a link to it, if you could pop it into the chat, that would be great. Yeah, so basically they are once again stealing pagan symbols for political right-wing use. The fascist National Socialists used it in using the sun wheel, which was a Buddhist symbol, which is a symbol of healing. They used the Triskelion. Thank you, Draka. Thank you. I know that the UKIP are using the Triqueta. So that, because from what I could find of Restore, they're using the map with, the British Isles doohickey thing. Thank you for his biography. Thank you for his biography. Really appreciate that. Funnily, as it's come up on my internet, it's got a big Mr. Doodle for Red Nose Day. I bet the Manx are overjoyed with that. Yeah. Proud Woke Moralist, hello, lovely to see you. Fantastic that you're joining. Thank you so much. What did he say about the symbol? Oh, hang on, it's the one that's on the Sutton Hoo helmet. They are linked in the description box of this video, so you can go and have a look at them whenever you want to. You may not want to suffer the whole 43 minutes that this video is. I'm only playing a little bit. I'm only playing a little bit from this.
That helmet is Stalin Style 2, and yeah, it didn't exist in 410 when the Roman Empire fell, and it didn't exist in the mid-5th century, really. So it's something that was brought into Britain by the sustained cultural contacts that the Anglo-Saxons had with the continent. So they didn't just like break off and say, we're separate now and we're going to develop our own cultural traditions. They kept on copying the new developments in art and culture from the continent, the Germanic continent, in Britain. And some of the ways that these silent style developed in Britain were influential on the continent and in Scandinavia as well. So
that's true. As in all writing, as in all language, as in all artwork, everything gets intermingled, doesn't it? As we learn a new thing, we pop it into our, I mean, I don't know if you can see, I've got my Celtic love knot on the back of my neck. I don't know if you see that, but that was my 40th birthday present to myself. Let's carry on listening to this guy just a teeny bit longer, guys.
There was a significant influence back both ways after the migration. And we can see a similar thing in our historical sources in regards to the performative arts, recorded in forms of written poets like poetry like Beowulf. So Beowulf,
He's reading from notes, which is fine because I use notes. No problem with that. But when you compare him to Ronald Hutton, there is just no comparison. I'm going to leave that there because it's really distressing. Let's look at some comments. He was actually quite polite to me, but then I am also Anglo-Saxon pagan. He really reminds me of the Norse white nationalist Asatru sect these days. Yeah. And that's what I'm going to be coming on to in a little bit, pagan, because my friend Volva Freya, she follows Asatru, but she is not a National Socialist. And a lot of those Germanic tribes, you know, of Vikings, and I'm not sure if he goes on to say it, but somebody else does, were white. You know, that from the Nordic countries, they were white, and they didn't have intermixed in their villages, in their peoples. Makes sense. They're in the northern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere. And it is all about white supremacy. It's all about them keeping that, you know, that way of life, that, you know, we are supreme. We are better than. And that is what white supremacy is. Asatru disturbs just a little. It does, but again, it has its place. It does have its place and can be taken as a, you know, out of that right-wing side of things. Restore only has the British map. The symbol users are the actual right-wing, like UKIP. Yeah, I thought so. What's a Triskelion? A Triskelion, if you have a look at the Isle of Man, it's 3 feet going around kicking an invisible ball. That's what I think of it as. But anyway, so you're going to ask your Manx family. Fantastic Draka. Okay, so he's not a prof. He did it for his masters. Doesn't mean that he knows everything. You know, what was his dissertation on? So, you know, you can only put so many words into a dissertation. And even though I'm studying psychology, when it comes to my dissertation, I can only put a certain amount of words in there. And I'm actually thinking of changing my degree, but I don't know yet. I haven't yet decided. So now he is recognizing the cross-pollination of cultures, but is getting it back to front. For fuck's sake, man, absolutely. He's also a member of the Odinist Fellowship. Yeah, Hutton's far better, absolutely. I may be wrong, but I think it's the 3-legged symbol. Yes, it is. A Triskelion or Trisket is an ancient motif consisting of either a triple spiral exhibiting rotational symmetry or of other patterns in triplicate that emanate from a common center. Thank you. Thank you for the whole meaning there. I really do appreciate that. Half a Triskelion tattooed on my left wrist. Brilliant. Oh, that thing. I had a few mental strokes trying to draw that. Okay. Just looked. His dissertation seems to be riding to the afterlife, the role of horses in early medieval northwestern Europe. Okay, so nothing really to do with this. But, you know, we all study what we're interested in, don't we? When we pick up a book that we're interested in. So, you know, he has a point. He has a point. So what he is talking about is actually what we know as heathenism. And I think, Pagan, you'll know this. I got my notes. I've been so busy all day. Hang on, guys. Let me get my notes up. So, heathenism, Germanic in origin, rituals are known as blots, indigenous beliefs of Norway, Sweden, Iceland, Denmark, England, and Europe's continental Germanic tribes. It's polytheists. In other words, they worship gods and goddesses, and not just one. They worship many. And Germanic deities, they believe that gods and goddesses are real, as do I. I believe that they are real, but they actually do make a point of that gods and goddesses are real. So I think that that's quite important when it comes to what a heathen is, a blot. I hope I pronounced it right, Pagan. I think I have, because, or is it a blood? It could be. They could be using the T as a D. I don't know. So many different languages that use the Germanic languages, and I love speaking those languages as well. I just find it so interesting. Now, the book that I'm getting this information from is a fabulous book, Paganism 101, and it is 101 pagan authors, many of which I actually know personally, and it's edited by Trevor Greenfield. It is from, what's his, Moon Books, who I need to send off a thing to them. And the introduction is by Barbara Mickle-John Free, who I did speak about the other day. She's absolutely amazing. Love her to bits. I know her. I've met her so many times. She actually has a band as well. She did have a band called Daughters of Gaia. Brilliant band. Her and Flavia have a shop in Buxton, and they often organize the Witches' Ball. And it's just, yeah, she's brilliant. I was going to read that out, the introduction to it, but I'm not, because I'm not going to have time. I can see that. Venus is particularly bright this evening. Well, I think it's Venus. Download Stellarium on your phone, Chris, and you can then hold it up and you'll see exactly what constellations you're looking at and the stars and so on. It's absolutely brilliant. Funny fact, the number 666 makes a decent triskelion. It does, and 666 is not the number of the beast. My heart belongs in the Isle of Man, mainly in the last week of May and first week of June. Brilliant. Is that where the is that the time of the TT? 66 was actually a mistranslation. It was originally 616. I thought so. A lot of the Bible's been mistranslated, hasn't it? But people don't know this. And modern, movies and books use 666. If they used 616, people would think, well, that's a lie. So that is Survive the Jive. If you want to check out his channel, please don't put a link into the description box. I thought it was TT week. I'd love to go. I'd love to see it. I would. So yeah, if you could, I don't know if you put a link to One Angry Pagan's YouTube channel in the chat, but that would be great if you could. Thank you. Pagan, if you can email me as well, because I think I'd like to do a live stream with you if you're interested at some time in the future about paganism, obviously. So yeah, if you can send me an email and we can set that up for some time in the future. Right, so we have discussed Clapface. So what is paganism? Now, Ronald Hutton has actually written the hang on, let me find it, guys. He's actually written in the sort of beginning of this. It is often said correctly that paganism is an umbrella term covering a rich profusion of traditions, attitudes, experiences, and beliefs. What better way to reflect that reality within one book? So that's the book that I would recommend if you want to get a close look at the different types of paganism. It is Venus. I haven't seen the stars tonight because it's just getting dark now here. So, but if you want to find out more about paganism, I highly recommend this. As I say, I know a lot of the authors in here personally. I know Kat Treadwell, Nim Brown, Mike Stigall. He was with Pagan Federation. Yeah, so many of these people I actually know personally. And I mean, this guy telling me that I know nothing about paganism. I've got 5,000 friends on my Facebook profile. Sorry, I'm not giving you that name. And the vast majority of them are friends from South Africa. A lot of them are pagan. Musicians from all over the world in different bands that I've met or know, and pagans and schoolmates. So yeah, I know nothing about paganism. I do know, and I was aware that there is a far-right, a Satru sort of group within the United Kingdom, and they do have a gathering. However, the Solskin Festival, which is, I think it's July this year, I'm not 100% sure, because I am invited. One of the ladies that does the work there, Jennifer Murphy, she's actually a really good friend of mine. Again, she's a daughter, she's a goddess of Avalon. She's a priest as well. She was studying her yoga diploma the year before I did mine. And when I went to do, like, you go along to sort of like a free day thing to meet all of the people and to find out if this is what you want to do. Well, we did. Unfortunately, Steve Avian, my yoga instructor, is no longer with us. Rest in peace, Steve. Remembered every time I practice my yoga, he is in my heart. But anyway, she was doing the her yoga diploma the year before me, and she was one of, we got different tutors, and just clicked. In fact, I clicked with all of them, to be honest. So yeah, the Solskin Festival, they even said I could go and take my cat with me as well, because other people take their pets, and it's just money. It's just money and stuff. So yeah, we'll see, because I would like to go. I know more about paganism than that, Pratt, and I don't follow paganism. Just remember they're being held to pay if you touch Mum's altar, and also the festivals that we went to were brilliant. They are, Chrissy. The festivals are awesome. Awesome festivals. I mean, I have no issue with going to a Viking festival, or, having that Viking content within paganism. A lot of the festivals I go to, such as Mabon at Thornborough and Beltane at Thornborough, the stuff that I go to at the Silver Forest, all of those have a mix of different pagans who follow different paths. But that's what paganism is. It's an umbrella term. Being a pagan does not mean that you are an asatru, or that you are a witch, or that you are a heathen. You can be whatever you want underneath that. The paganism is an umbrella term. So, the right wing of paganism, which is this, and not all heathens, not all Anglo-Germanic and asatru-based Viking, Nordic pantheons, or, are right wing. Not all of them. Not all of them. But it has been stolen. Hitler stole a lot of paganism, and it was put into the Nazi beliefs. So I'm going to be popping up, playing something in a minute from that. But just briefly want to go through different types of pagans. So you can get druids. Now, druids, this is the guy who started Druidism. Okay, this is written by Philip Carr Gomm and forwarded by Ronald Hutton. And the guy's name is Ross Nichols. So if you want to find out about Druidism, In the Grove of the Druids, excellent book to read. Yeah, Druids, we see a lot of Druids at Stonehenge. The Dolmen there are actually the main group, but I don't know if you saw the post that I know, Pagan. I'm actually going to be playing one of your videos in a minute, because it came up when I searched. So I'm like, I have to play one of Pagan's videos. So the Druids it is a very formal framework. They work with specific ways, specific wording. Their rituals are very specific. This is from Obod, Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids, which he actually set up. So yeah, it is generally, a lot of them do go to Stonehenge. And I don't know if you saw recently, I put up that post about Arthur. He is known as King Arthur. Yes, I do know him. And he's Arthur Uther Pendragon. And he has been fighting for years to stop that tunnel being built at, by Stonehenge. And it's finally been stopped, which is brilliant news. But we'll still have to fight it again in a few years' time. So let's hope that we can just carry on that fight. he claims to be the king, the real king of Britain. I don't know, but he's a great guy. And I think he's got a Harley as well, or it could be a Triumph. I'm not sure, but he rides his bike. So yeah, he's anybody who rides a motorbike in my books is pretty decent. There's another issue. Hell is totally different concept to me. Helheim is green, peaceful place to me. Yeah, we call it Summerland. We call it Summerland. Same thing. It is the other side, and there is no hell because there is no heaven in paganism. So we call it Summerland. It's the same place. I went to many. Oh yeah, I've read that. There is no one pagan path. We all hold our own truth. My heathenism does not fit nicely into the description here. I just can't see how pagan and fascism can fit together. We are all one. I agree with you 100%, but it has been stolen. It has been appropriated by the far right. And can you put this book list later in community? I will do, Mithril. I will do. I'll take photos of them as well. I covered the unlawful Stonehenge tunnel a while back too, if I remember correctly. Fantastic. Please link that video here as well. Okay. It'll be a Trumfer. Yeah, I think it will. I think it will be a Triumph rather than a Harley. Yeah, he's British. That's the thing. He is British. He is, you know, when people tell me what is British culture, I'm going to do a live stream on that at some stage in the future. Maybe next week. We'll see how I go. But what is British culture? I'm going to leave that blank. So it's a natural order of things, Druidism. It's the laws of nature. It's honoring the seasons. It's so similar to witchcraft and Wicca and other forms of paganism. But as I say, there are specific principles that they hold and specific things that they practice in their magic. So it is known as magic. Now, they've spelt it with a C, but I spell magic with a CK for ceremonial magic. Thank you, Pagan, for putting that up. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And they have a highly developed sense of ethics, which is perhaps something that, you know, is not recognized by all pagans. You ride bikes. Yeah, you ride bikes. So I've talked about heathens already, and I know that our wonderful good friend, One Angry Pagan, can tell us a little bit more about heathenism than I ever can. So, as I said, it's Germanic in origin. Then we have witch. So I'm going to put this book to one side because I've got too many books here. Now, I'm a witch. I'm not a Wiccan. I started off on the Wiccan path, but then I felt that I was a witch more than a Wiccan. And another person said to me that paganism isn't political. It is. I'm going to get to that in a bit. But if you're looking for some books to read on paganism, on witchcraft, sorry, 3 authors I highly recommend. And now we're going back to, 20, 30 years now. But these people, these writers are awesome when it comes to paganism. So we've got Starhawk, The Spiral Dance, feminist, very much of the belief that, it is the reclamation of women, reclamation of the female goddesses. Drawing Down the Moon, which I love this book by Margot Adler, who is a professor. Can't remember which university she's at. It's American. And she is also a feminist. And I'm going to read a little bit here about what she says as witchcraft. Witch is an all-woman everything. It's theatre, revolution, magic, terror, joy, garlic flowers, spells. It's an awareness that witches and gypsies were the original guerrillas and resistance fighters against oppression, particularly the oppression of women. Down through the ages, witches have always been women who dared to be groovy, courageous, aggressive, intelligent, nonconformist, explorative, curious, independent, sexually liberated, revolutionary. This possibly explains why 9 million of them have been burned. Witches were the first friendly heads and dealers, the first birth control practitioners and terminationists, the first alchemists. Turn dross into gold and you devalue the whole idea of money. They bowed to no man, being the living remnants of the oldest culture of all, one in which men and women were equal sharers in a truly cooperative society before the death-dealing, sexual, economic, and spiritual repression of the imperialist, phallic society took over and began to destroy nature and human society. So, totally agree. But men can also be witches. They are not called warlocks. They are not called wizards. Within witchcraft, they are known as witches. Then another book that I highly recommend is The Witch's Bible by Janet and Stuart Farrar. Stuart is no longer with us. I have worked with Janet Farrar in Circle. She is amazing. She's now married to Gavin Bone. Another one I actually took all of my books with me and got them signed. I didn't have this one at the time though, but this gives you a complete breakdown of witchcraft. She was ordained by Alex Saunders, who was the Alexandrian tradition of Wicca, and Gerald Gardner was the Gardnerian tradition of Wicca. Obviously, Wicca's sort of split off into loads of different types now. So those 3 books, definitely ones to put on your list. When I get to Wicca, though, this is a book that you may want to start reading first. So a witch, there's many different types. There's a red witch, a black witch, a white witch, a grey witch, a green witch, a good witch, a ditch witch, a head witch, a family traditional witch, feminist witches, Dianic witches, web witches, solitary witches, and they are male and female. And there are so many more. There are so many more. Sometimes I like to call myself a swamp witch, especially when I'm experiencing a menopausal moment. Feels like I'm in a swamp. Now, the US witches tend to have more ceremonial or white light workings, whereas the UK witches tend to straddle the line between the light and the dark. And I call myself a grey witch. I work between both. That is my choice. That is my path. But both work with the earth, work with nature, work with animals, plants, herbs, oils, crystals, but in a different temperament. So a healer will use those things in a healing way, which I do. I have my healing crystals and I have my reading crystals. And then I have crystals that I will use for other purposes. It's also intentional magic. So when you cast a spell, you are intentionally casting that spell. And it is knowledge. Witch stems from wit, which means knowledge. Knowledge is power. So basically, read as much as you possibly can when it comes to witchcraft, when it comes to the craft. And then we have Wiccan. I couldn't find my Joel Gardner book. It's vanished. I must have lent it to somebody and they've not given it back to me. But this book is absolutely brilliant. Scott Cunningham, he is American. And it is Wicca, a guide for the solitary practitioner. A lot of the words that I use for my rituals do come from here. It is one of the first books that I ever bought. I think this is my second copy because my first copy I lent to somebody. Again, I don't lend books out anymore. But this gives you a basic rundown of all of the rituals that you can do. Another good start for witchcraft is Anna Murrah. Got 2 of her books, but this one, Grimoire for the Green Witch. Brilliant book to read as well. She is more a modern sort of witch rather than going back to Scott Cunningham, who is no longer with us. Rest in peace, Scott. He was also gay. That's the thing about paganism. I think he was one of the first gay. I mean, Margaret Adler and Starhawk were both feminists. Whether they were married or not, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, if you're going to also look at something, Grimoire for the Green Witch. However, this one is very easy to read. This one is a bit more in depth. So it's up to you which way you go if you want to learn a little bit more. So Wicca is a gentler form of the craft. Now, Gerald Gardner actually sort of began this back in the, I think it was in the 30s. And he also pulled a lot from Crowley, Aleister Crowley. It's a syncretic religion, which means it's a belief system and practices that are a collage of many different influences from all over. So what you would use in a ritual here is when you start studying further, you will see, okay, this comes from there, that comes from there. It's ancient pagan beliefs of animism, spirits are present within nature, and so we're working with that energy. Ceremonial magic, which is your tree of life. Ceremonial magic, often used with Latin words, speaking in Latin. I don't know where it is now. Chris Penzac does a really good version of the Lesser Banishing Ritual, which is based on the Tree of Life. And we use the various names of the angels and the points on the star. It focuses on nature being sacred. So this is why Mithril mentioned earlier on about asking the tree if you can take a piece of the tree and giving thanks to the tree afterwards. And also something that we do when we have a ritual, and I did mention cakes and ale earlier on, is we always leave a libation for the spirits, the elements, the fae, whoever you want to work with. So we pour a little bit of juice or wine or mead, and we leave some sort of fruit or cake, whatever we're having, for the nature as well. It's probably generally eaten by different creatures, and it follows the cycles of nature. So it is birth, life, sex, death, and rebirth, and that continues. That cycle continues, and we see it in nature. So at the moment we are going through birth phase, as we are here in the Northern Hemisphere, as everything starts to come to life. And it's a reverence for the natural world, but witchcraft is as well. So there's a lot of similarities here. Bides, thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Sorry, he has the necromancy, but I think again it's up to the person if they want to dabble in that. And there's a lot that he did bring to it. Pisk is the same as bog arts here in Lancashire, pretty much, yeah. It's not real pagan, I'm afraid. Dead people, unfortunately, stay dead. I don't know. Again, there's that fine line of belief here, of what we want to believe and what we don't want to believe. Rebirth 100%. I'm feared to ask about what? To ask about what? Why are you afraid? It's okay, because I think when you say about Crowley, he was the Golden Dawn, he was Freemason, he was all of those. He was really intelligent. He studied so many different belief systems, traveled widely, and I think that when we look at Golden Dawn and that ceremonial magic, there is a lot in there which has gone into Wicca. I've done a few ceremonial magic workings myself in the past. Another friend of mine, she was a chaos witch, so she worked with chaos magic. Very, very powerful. Again, it's like finding which one works for you. Sorry if I have missed some chats here. Old farts unite. Who? Well, I'm old fart anyway, so I'm 57 next month. 25th of April, guys, is my birthday. Oh, you watched that Manosphere documentary? I did talk about that on Monday, blah, blah. I do want to do a further breakdown of it because the thing is with the Manosphere stuff, that Manosphere documentary, to me, it wasn't surprising because I've already seen all of them anyway, and I know what it's all about. So I wasn't shocked, but a lot of people who saw it were shocked. And I was quite surprised because I thought everybody was aware of the Manosphere as I am. But anyway, Paganism 101, if you want to find out about the different types of paganism. Obviously, it does not go into a satru here. For a satru, I would definitely have a look at Thorson. Where is his book? Thorson. Where is his book? Dark Wolf. Thorson, Rune Law. So yeah, I'd look at some of his stuff if you want to have a look at the Germanic, well, not the Germanic, but the actual Nordic sort of stuff. It's a good place to start. But reading runes, again, is quite difficult. It's there's a lot to it. It's not just something that you can sort of, you know, pick up overnight. There's a lot of energy that goes into it. It's like when I read the crystals. It's not just like picking up a tarot card and that's the meaning of the card. It is all the energy that goes into that. And we also have, which I didn't talk about after Wicca, shamanism. So shamanism it means one who knows. That's the actual meaning of it, one who knows. And it's a seer. It's a person who sees all, but they're also able to heal. But they bring messages from beyond. I'm just going to read from the book. The Tungus word for shaman means one who knows. Now, in the British language here that she uses is Awen, which you may have seen it. It's like a line down the center and 2 points. It was on the front of something, and which means spirit. Awen means spirit. So it's inspired by spirit. So when you're working with shamanism, you are healing the body, you are healing the person, but bringing out and drawing out certain things from that person, perhaps connecting to them to a past life. It's doing what makes your heart sing, but it's also a responsible job. You have to be very responsible with that work. If you are working with somebody and perhaps helping them to connect to a past life and, you know, soul retrieval, that it is incredibly, you know, you've really got to trust what you're doing. It requires a lot of nous knowledge. And it's working with the mind's eye or body knowing. So it's inner knowing. It's what you see. So it's just that feeling of knowing things. I think that I feel that quite a lot. Just a sense of knowing when something's going to happen. I think I've said before, I knew when my sister was going to give birth to her second child. I rang her and I said, "Why aren't you pushing yet?" "How did you know?" I just did. Chris the troll stopped. "Did you have a troll?" "Oh, I missed the troll. What did they say?" "Oh, what did they do? What did they say?" "Oh, was it Huggin? Huggin left it." Yeah, Huggin was one of the viewers on the other videos that I did. I bet it was something rude. Let me know what he said. I'd really be interested to know. Anyway, Ellen Sentia, sorry, she's a brilliant author when it comes to shamanism. These are just 3 of the books that I've got. These are Pagan Pathways books, and they are really cheap, really quick reads, really easy to read. There's loads of them out there. So if you are looking for something to read that's quick and easy, I recommend these. I've got loads of them. I've got fairy books. I've got Morrigan, Book of the Morrigan by Morgan Daimler. There's loads of different sort of, you know, pagans that have written these books. Pagan Pathways, they're called. Also through Moon Books, which is the same as the Pagan 101 that I just read. The troll will always meet the third Billy Goat's Golf. Even though he was himself Christian, I suggest reading the Poetic Eddas. Absolutely, definitely read the Poetic Eddas. Very much worthwhile. Also, as far as witchcraft goes, Robert Graves, The White Goddess, another book to read. It sort of goes back to where the goddesses came from. If you have a look on the front, it's got the three goddesses. So definitely worth reading and looking at. It talks about all different goddesses from around the world. Definitely worth reading. When was this first published? I was trying to find this earlier on. First published 1948. So it's one of the older tomes that you may want to read. And then, does politics play a part in witchcraft? Now, let me go to this email that was, I haven't even got through half of today's stuff. Sorry, guys, there's so much in paganism to talk about. There really, really is. It's just a huge, huge topic. So I'm just covering some of the messages that were sent. Oh, what's it done now? Bugger off. That was sent to me. So bear with me as I make sure that I've got the right one here. Bear with me. I'm going to be doing single videos on this as well. It's just time and recording. It's a huge, huge, huge amount of research goes into this. Sorry, guys, just clicking through emails because I'd screenshot everything on my phone and then emailed all of these to me. So I didn't have a chance to sort them out. Okay, this is from Peter Hake, K8E. Now, if you want to, you can go and watch that video, and you don't have to watch it, but you can go and check out the comments. And, you know, Dinosaur Bane said that to his people, to his acolytes, to come over to my channel and show me some love and say hi from him. But I would say that probably 75% of the comments are absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So, how dangerous is the Marxist liberal hive mind? Very dangerous. That's why all sharp, okay, spelling's a bit wrong. All sharp tools are locked away when they're around. As regards you being pagan, I think not. True pagans understand the gods of old, the gods of tribe, and the gods of natural law. You, my dear, are fake. The gods of these lands and peoples are everything, and for your information, in pagan times, those going against natural law, rapists, S-deviants, and men pretending to be women, etc., would have been red robined on the land. I am going to completely disagree with the pretending to be women, in other words, transgender, because I think that's a load of bollocks, because the ancient pagan beliefs and religions were women-led. And women, generally, the vast majority of us, accept transgender women as women. So cut the crap and admit what you really are, a cosplay Wiccan witch. I'm not even Wiccan. An embarrassment to paganism and natural law. I've been telt. Sorry, just going through these emails that I've sent myself. Looks like I've sent myself several at the same time, the same one. There's one specific one that I'm looking for because I need to then log on to Facebook because it's very interesting. I got a response from another friend of mine. Here we go. So this is from Sick of Being Shadow Banned. as in BANNED, as a female pagan and a long-time practitioner of Wicca, Reiki practitioner and tarot reader, I find this video and your other videos most distasteful, and I'll explain why. And this is on my sentenced for raping a pregnant woman video. So the Wiccan and pagan path are very different to the goth fashion, and the most authentic pagans don't dress like that. So that confuses me immediately. Witches wear black. The goth aesthetic is very much the witch aesthetic. I have robes that are different colors for different rituals on different times. I have white robes when I'm doing my ceremonial and full moon work. I have blue, which I'll be wearing for Ostara. I have red, which I wear for midsummer. I have pink, which I wear for Beltane. I have green. Just because I'm a goth doesn't mean that I don't respect those colors to each specific Sabbat, but also what the fuck does it matter what the person wears? Also, I'm very offended that you would use the terms pagan or Wiccan, don't use Wiccan, I use witch, to promote your political views, and not only that, but to use these titles to denigrate and slander other people who have differing views to your own personal political views. The vast majority of pagans are left-leaning. The vast, vast majority. All of those writers and authors in those books that I have shown you are left-leaning. They are all for saving the planet. They are all for stamping out patriarchy. They are all for feminism. They are all for freedom of belief. It is a very small minority of pagans that are right-wing. And it was taken over by their Hitler actually used it, and I'm going to get to that in a bit. I'm going to have to miss Ostara off, I'm afraid, but I will be recording a video tomorrow about Ostara, and I will load that up so you can then have a watch of that and, you know, do what you will. And I can also talk about it some on Friday as well. Sorry guys, but it's like 7:45. The spiritual practice of both paganism and Wicca are absolutely nothing to do with today's political theatre. Clearly, she hasn't heard of that other dude either, or a Satru. So please stop misleading people that paganism is something that people with traditional viewpoints do not recognize. That is wrong entirely. Paganism is tradition. The tradition of this land, not just this land, but every land around the world, because every single land and country in this world has a pagan belief. All I would like to say is please stop making YouTube videos, and if you don't feel you are able to do so, cease and desist joining your views with your alleged pagan beliefs, because it's insulting to other pagans and Wiccans. This is what makes witchcraft and paganism political. The Malleus Maleficarum, the witch's hammer. This is what the burning, hanging, drowning of witches created. This book was used by the Inquisitors to unalive women. Witchcraft is very political, very, very political. And unfortunately, she has got some studying and learning to do. Let's scroll back up here. I'm going to just have a look at some of the comments. So bear with me, guys. I know there's going to... it's a black font, the Witch's Bible. It's black. It's black. I'm going to take photos of them and post them up onto the community page. It'll probably be tomorrow because I'm absolutely starving. So the first thing I'm going to do after I finish this live stream is go and eat. And is Supatansky going live at 8? If she is, please pop her link up as well. That would be great. I once was in a magazine aisle, pocketbooks, etc. Took me a good 15 minutes to find that book. The Boy is Naked Next Door wasn't real. Okay, I'm not sure what that's about. Send me the names if you like. I'm one of his mods. Whose mods? Not sure. It was 2 books, one about a boy. Okay. Sorry, guys. I wanted to know what that person said. The troll. Okay, the troll. What did he say? Even though he was okay. Oh, okay. All right. When the shit, do you think you will need white men to save you from machete wielding Somalians? Yeah, okay. It was funny because one of the comments that I got was, you know, because I run at Clumber and it's obviously I do a lot of videos from there. Oh, you live in a white area, you know, out in the countryside, blah, blah, blah. I lived in South Africa for 24 years of my life in various cities and towns, but part of that time I lived in Berea, just outside of Hillbrow, which is all part of Johannesburg. I know exactly what being in a country of different colored people is. I also know that multiculturalism can work. So yeah, I hope he's still listening because I used to carry a gun. I had a pew pew. It was a 38 Taurus, Taurus 38 Brazilian gun, absolutely brilliant. And I had to use it a couple of times. I'm not going to talk about that though. But yeah, I think also, you know, these people on the far right have been put into a place of fear by the fascists. And I am going to be doing a video on that. I've been researching big time on fascism. So I will be looking at that in the future. Let's have a look before I sign off. Just being near a Bible makes me feel uneasy. Pagan, I've actually got a Bible. And yeah, I do read it because there is information in there that is pertinent. And, you know, when you're a witch, you get asked, you know, you should repent, repent, repent. Sorry, I'm just scrolling up. True pagans, yeah. Yeah, he's American. No idea what Marxism or liberalism means here because it means different things to them. Somebody told me that I was, what was I? The other day, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, no. Clearly confused between fascism and communism and all the bits in between. Some people really should not be allowed anywhere near a keyboard for their own safety and the safety of the wider public. Absolutely. Female magic. Yeah, Sadia. There's seer. It's pronounced seer, isn't it? Yeah. Volva Freya was a seer. She read the runes. She was a Volva. That is what she was. She was just my friend, who she still is. Designing an electrified keyboard. I like that idea. Loki turned himself. What? They are confused by clothes. Yeah, confused by clothes. Loki turned himself into a fucking mare and gave birth to Odin's 8-legged horse, Sleipnir. Yeah. They didn't send their brightest. No, they didn't. And Loki would turn into a woman and have kids with mortal men. Yeah. And yes, I am going to split this into 2 streams because it'll be carried on next week. Anyone coming over was under very clear instruction to be nice and very civil. So I'd like some names so I can see if they are one of ours. Oh, I think, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. I thought you were from there, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, yeah, some of the things that I've been called, I've screenshot them. I can give you some names. Sorry, guys. Screenshot gallery. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that I was called and told and stuffs. Sorry, scrolling through. It's Facebook screenshots. Oh, Wrinkles55 reported me to YouTube for far left misinformation. Sorry, it's got to go through loads of screenshots here. Loads of stuff that I need to talk about. I always screenshot stuff as I come across it because there's so many stories that I need to read. Dan Wileman 6837, you are in for a shock when you realise Lubna, a Pakistani British woman, shares similar views to Dino and supports Restore. She's brown and more of a patriot than yourself, but then she is highly intelligent and not delusional. Do not sub this thing from Gang ZY7LQ. It needs abusing. She needs a night in the hotel with the boatmen. She'd love it because no white men would want this mongrel. National dish is fish and chips, you dog. Guys, imagine this is Monk MC 1860. Guys, imagine this is what you had come back to after a hard shift. Horrendous. Being called mentally disturbed. Klaus Saxon says, Pagan, not if you support LGBTQ pedos and the destruction of your nation via immigration. You're a hippie tree hugging lefty diversity lover, and if want to notice things, why not notice Antifa also use red, black and white? There was that comment that I made, and I do actually need to go into depth about those three colors because they are incredibly strong colors. Something about called Black Uncle Toms who don't agree that men are women. I don't know what he was on about there. You are the exact reason we are going to win. You're a vile woman who just lies and uses grape as a political tool because you lie about how we actually feel about it. We are the only people who would put your attackers to unaliving. Your lies don't work anymore. That's Jack Shepherd 93. CBTM8YI, you are absolutely batshit crazy. It's people like you is why this country is on its knees. Wake up, you stupid BBC News watching fool. Don't even watch normal telly. You are so far gone to the left that anyone, and quite a lot of different comments there. If you go and have a look, you'll just have to scroll. There's over 400 comments there, and I've not gone through all of them because I've not responded to any of them either. There's just no point. I did put a comment up myself to try and answer some of the questions, and that was also met with a lot of nastiness as well. So and I'm not doing a response video to his response. It's not worth my time, or I've got far more important things to do. Okay, so we've got another one going on here, but please don't Derpits, please don't ban Derpits, please don't. I'm enjoying, I do need and want to converse with the right. I've said this many, many times, but in a polite way, because if anything comes up, the mods, that disrupts the flow of conversation, that makes it nasty, the mods are going to block. So I lose track of how many times a day I want to turn and say, you can't seriously be that fucking stupid. Okay, right. I'm going to head off, guys. I'm absolutely starving. It's 4 minutes to 8. And if Super Tansky is going live streaming, then take a watch of her. I'm sorry, Pagan, I didn't get to play your video, but I will play it. I'll probably do a bit of this on Friday, actually, as well. So, because there's a whole lot of stuff that I've still got to play here. Ronald Hutton, various other things and stuff that I've, been looking at. It's just been a hell of a day trying to make sure that what I'm saying makes sense. And I never make sense anyway, because I am the fuck in the cop. The social conversations need to be challenged, but Molnier is waiting if they go too far. Thank you. Thank you. I've had to deal with so many incels. It's honestly tiring. That's another topic that I cover as well. So thanks for the show, Witchy, as always, in chat. Thanks for the amazing community. You truly have made our mods' lives easy. Thank you, guys. If you would like to support the channel, you can go up to the top of the comments. There's a pinned comment there with a link to my buy me a coffee. If anybody would like to buy me a coffee, that would be really, really appreciated at the moment, in quite a bit of a pickle with finances. And okay, end of the poll. I'm going to end the poll now as well. Just bear with me while it shows the results. So badgers win at 59%, foxes at 24%, squirrels at 12%, and Robin's got 5%. And I should have put hedgehogs up and I forgot. Friggs, Luf, and Beitsunga to you as well, Pagan. I hope I've pronounced that right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me tonight. Thank you for waiting for me, because I was late, because I was running around feeding the cats. And I will see you all on Friday, 3 p.m. for my What the Fuck live stream. Lots of What the Fuck stuff has been going on, guys, but I'll see how stuff fits in with paganism. I will not be live streaming tomorrow. I need to get in my garden. And coffee sachets, yeah, milk and sugar, definitely. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Stay blessed. Take care of each other. Take care of each other. Blessed be. Mwah.